Good evening, everyone. I welcome those of you that have graced us with your presence in the gallery. Thank you so very much. And welcome to councillors as well for our ordinary meeting this evening. So our meeting has opened at 6:03. The public is advised that it is council policy to record the proceedings of meetings of council on digital media to assist in the preparation of minutes and to ensure that a true and accurate account of debate and discussion of meetings is available. This audio recording is authorised by the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2015. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge country. I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Tomagina people, and to pay our respect to those that have passed before us, their history and their culture. Item 1 is record of attendance. Apologies. Deputy Mayor Edwards is an apology. Leave of absence nil received. Item 2, confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Waratah Wynyard Council held at our chambers on Monday 17th of June 2024, a copy of which has been circulated to councillors prior to the meeting, be confirmed as a true and correct record. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councillor Bramage, could I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts. Any corrections to the minutes are to be identified and agreed on at this point prior to taking a vote to adopting the minutes. Are there any corrections or amendments, please? If there are no if there are no amendments or corrections, all those in favour please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 3 is declarations of interest. Councillors, are there any of you this evening that wish to declare an interest? Any staff that wish to declare an interest? No, so we'll move on to item 4, councillors' announcements and report. Announcements by the Mayor. There is a report that I have provided on the National Government Assembly that was in Canberra last week, so I'm not going to read that out. I think it's just far too long. So moving on to my communications, there is a recommendation 4.2 that Council note my Mayor's communications. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councillor Hyland moved.
Second.
Councillor Johnson seconded. Are there any questions or queries about the work that I've been doing over the last month? No? Okay, so I'm going to put the motion...
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Bramage.
I see a bit of media coverage about the lighthouse. Is that opening up again soon or potentially? I see you might have a meeting there.
Yes, as far as I know, it will be open, but we're waiting for permission to be able to open it again. Any further questions, please? No further questions. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 4.2. 4.3, reports by delegates. I have not received any reports for this evening. 4.4, notification of council workshops. There is a recommendation before you, councillors. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder?
Yeah, second.
Councillor Hyland seconded. Are there any queries or comments that the council wish to make? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. We're moving on to item 5, which is public questions and statements. Public questions without notice and public statements without notice. We have a question and also a couple of statements this evening. So, Mr. Smith, you wish to make a statement? Is he here this evening? Would you like to come forward? Councillor Raw, would you turn the microphone on, please? Yes, you can.
Thank you. Do you want to talk into that? Certainly. And of course, that's the wrong height, isn't it? Mayor, councillors, members of the gallery, my name is Colin Smith. I'm here representing the Wynyard Pickleball Club this evening. Pickleball is a paddle sport that combines elements of tennis, badminton, table tennis, using a paddle and a plastic ball with holes. It is the fastest growing sport worldwide, with over 25 million playing in the US alone. It is estimated that by 2026 there will be more than 1 million Australians playing pickleball. Within the next 10 years, it will be an Olympic sport. Although the average age player is around 58 years of age, it is a through-life sport suitable for ages 5 to 90 plus with varying skill levels. It has gained huge popularity due to almost anyone can play. It has a low cost, not too physically strenuous at the lower levels, and has a low injury rate. It is heavily participated in by our older community members. Pickleball is a social activity bringing a vast cross-section of the community together, fostering a sense of belonging and camaraderie among players, and assists with isolation, mental health and well-being issues. The Wynyard Pickleball Club has approximately 50 members. We play at the Wynyard Indoor Sports Centre on Thursdays 10:30am to 12:30pm, Saturdays 11am to 1pm, and Tuesdays 7pm to 9pm. We are just about to lose our Tuesday evenings. We only have tomorrow night and next week to play, and then they finish. Our club has recently turned 1 and has been growing steadily. However, we are having trouble retaining newcomers as we are unable to acquire sufficient playing time. As you may be aware, the Tasmanian Master Games are being hosted on the Northwest Coast 18th to the 20th of October. At the previous Tasmanian Masters Games, pickleball was the most supported of all the sports. Several members from the Wynyard Club are not only playing in the games but are also part of the steering committee organising them. Now that we are going to lose our Tuesday night training sessions, these Wynyard players will struggle to adequately prepare for the Masters Games. Currently, the Waratah Wynyard municipal area supports 2 basketball clubs and all of their associated teams. Bookings for both Wynyard and Somerset indoor sports facilities has been outsourced from the council to 2 people associated with these 2 clubs. Consequently, bookings for these facilities are totally biased and dependent on the desires of the clubs and their associated teams, at the expense of all other sporting activities. Blanket bookings are placed just in case they want to use them, Saturday morning prior to 11am being an example. Should you turn up on this occasion when, supposedly, it is being utilised by basketball, you will either find the facility empty or a single teenager shooting hoops with a parent or maybe a coach. 30 plus other people, ratepayers, are being prevented from utilising this facility just in case an individual decides to practice. Surely this is underutilisation of this resource and not considered good business practice. Other sporting activities are no longer played in Wynyard due to not being able to book the facilities, volleyball being a prime example. When attempting to book the Somerset facility, which has 2 basketball courts for an ongoing 2-hour session of an evening during the week, I was told that nothing was available, only free time offered was weekdays during business hours. This was not negotiable. A little success was achieved at the Wynyard facility, with some selected Tuesday evening bookings being made. This Tuesday booking has now, as I've mentioned, been taken away from us to allow for more basketball as they open up a new competition between Smithton, Wynyard and Somerset. These facilities are community sporting facilities. They are not exclusive to basketball. We only ask for a commitment of 6 hours per week, which allows basketball to have all of the rest. No other sports, as far as I'm aware, are played at the Wynyard sporting facility. Surely this is not too much to ask. Council provided a grant to assist us in raising the Wynyard Pickleball Club, which was greatly appreciated. This grant will be in vain, however, should the club fail due to not being able to achieve proper playing time. This issue has been raised with Council before, through one of our elected members, direct to the GM. The elected member is actively involved in basketball themselves. For them to raise this issue with the GM shows really how unfair the booking system is. Response from the council was negotiate with the basketball representatives. A waste of time, unfortunately. With today's current technology, it is hard to understand why bookings of these facilities are not conducted online, why they are not supervised by an independent party, council, making them transparent so that the ratepayers can see exactly when and who are utilising their community sporting facilities. The council is about to embark on a major sporting upgrade in the Somerset area. The current management and booking system does not support 4 of the 5 key objectives of the Somerset Sports Precinct Plan. Key objective number 1 is about opportunity for greater participation. This is not being met due to the current system because some teams and sports are not able to participate and gain access to the facilities. Key objective number 2, increased utilisation through consolidation and shared use. It's not being shared very well at all. Key objective number 3, lifelong participation in health and wellbeing activities. Pickleball, as I've mentioned, is a through-life sport, and our club has struggled to achieve adequate playing time at either of the indoor sporting facilities due to the current system. Key objective number 5 is sustainable and cost-effective. The more groups that can utilise these facilities, the more sustainable and cost-effective they become. As mentioned before, some sports no longer play within our municipality because they are unable to achieve a booking. I have 3 questions for Council. Question number 1. Will Council provide independent oversight and transparency of the 2 indoor sporting facilities within our municipality, ensuring adequate and fair playing time for all sports?
If you go on with your other 2 questions, please,
Certainly.
Mr. Smith.
Thanks, Mayor. Question number 2. I believe the proposed Somerset Sports Precinct Plan proposes a 4th basketball court to be considered for Somerset. Wynyard is by far the biggest population centre within the municipality, with a single court facility being over 50 years old. What consideration has been given to providing this 4th court to Wynyard, and can consideration be given to placing both Wynyard basketball and pickleball on the Wynyard Sporting Committee so that they can be included in future community sporting decisions? Question number 3. The Somerset Sports Precinct Plan mentions relocation of the Somerset tennis courts. What plans does Council have for the old facilities, and would they consider providing these facilities for pickleball, providing outdoor courts would reduce the amount of indoor court requirements?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'll defer to our Acting General Manager.
Thanks through you, Mayor. For question 1, I believe the current arrangements or the agreements in place expire soon, and they'll certainly be under review, including the option proposed by Mr. Smith. That is something the council will need to make a decision on shortly. For the second one, the Somerset Sports Precinct, well, actually for both questions, the Somerset Sports Precinct plan is currently out for consultation, so certainly feedback around both matters, if it hasn't already been submitted, can be captured from tonight and included as part of that. Council will then formally consider the plan and those matters amongst others. For the second part to the second question around the Wynyard Sporting Precinct itself, that's certainly something that can be looked at to include reps from the 2 clubs that Mr. Smith talked about, so basketball and pickleball.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Dr. Crabber, if you would like to come forward, please. You have a question?
Thank you, Mayor Dunham. I actually have a statement and 2 questions. So my statement relates to the motion by Councillor Courtney with regards to conditional basic income. I firstly commend Councillor Courtney on her efforts with promoting conditional basic income, and note that her proposal is now very similar to Live Well Tasmania's preferred model of community-based income. The Live Well Tasmania campaign is backed by substantial work which is continuing, and we look forward to the possible merging of our proposal with Councillor Courtney's. My statement is to encourage Council, firstly, as much as possible, to help promote the community-based income project, such as lobbying politicians, perhaps via the Crowder Coast Authority. Secondly, we wish to encourage Council to provide representation for the social activation project, which aims to show that the community-based income model is an effective way of mobilising resources for projects that increase resilience, health and wellbeing and community capacity in Waratah Wynyard. This would not involve much of a commitment from Council, but shows to the community that council is willing to engage in partnerships to help deliver projects that benefit the community. With regards to questions, my first question is to Councillor Courtney. Is her proposal the same as the community-based income model? If there is a difference, what is the difference between them?
Councillor Courtney.
Yes, it is. So I don't think that we should be deciding that some people get a full payment, a part payment or no payment for 3 years while we study them. My proposal is that we just take people out of poverty immediately. That's the difference.
Yeah, I'm still not clear as to, you're saying they're exactly the same, that yours would involve like community projects.
No, the Live Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the idea of your proposal is that we have some people on a full payment, some people on a part payment and some people on no payment. That my understanding is correct?
No, that's not the model.
That's what you come and presented to council? That's what the discussion was in the workshop?
No.
Did I hear that properly?
No.
So I've misunderstood what you're going to do?
Well, I mean, there's just one payment, and then it's how people are eligible for the payment. Nobody would be excluded from receiving the payment.
No, but wasn't there part payment? And then people that weren't doing the hours, you were going to decide that they were getting no payment if they weren't part of the project, or that you deemed that they weren't part of the project?
No.
Can I
Okay,
just stop you there? We, because this is question time, we are now moving into a debate. So obviously, Councillor Courtney, I'm not sure whether you have missed the point that Dr. Crabber is making, but I'll now allow Dr. Crabber to finish her questions.
Thank you, Mayor. My second question, it part relates to the community-based income project and the social activation project, but it's also somewhat of a separate issue in regards to corporate volunteering. So an underlying aim of the community-based income project is to increase meaningful work. It assumes there's plenty of meaningful work to be done in our community, and currently the way that a lot of that work gets done is via volunteering. Volunteers, for example, contribute approximately 1,600 hours per year to Live Well Tasmania, with a value of over $64,000. So in the council response to the Councillor Courtney's motion in the agenda, it stated that councils fill gaps and needs in the community, and in this case the need is already being progressed by an external agency, which I presume means Live Well Tasmania. So while we have some funding for the social activation project, all the work being done for the community-based income project is provided by volunteers. We would welcome efforts to share the load by encouraging more volunteering, specifically by the council offering corporate volunteering to their staff. The benefits of volunteering are fairly well known, but include the gaining of new skills or increasing existing skills, particularly teamwork skills, and for staff to gain links to their community, as well as an increased reputation of the council within the community. Even if only a few staff took up volunteering opportunities for a few hours a week, there could be huge benefits. Hence my question is, would the council consider offering an option of corporate volunteering for council employees?
Thank you, Dr. Crabber. We will take that question, your last question, on notice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chloe Foster. And you have a question?
Yes, I have a question and a statement.
Okay,
So I'll
if you
start
go
with
with
the
your
statement
statement first.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Chloe Foster, and I'm here to address the council on behalf of my family who reside at 219 Bass Highway. I wish to stress our deep concern and disappointment regarding the recently completed and ongoing civil works at 207 to 221 Old Bass Highway, specifically the construction of a rock retaining wall on the beach at Doctors Rocks. My family have enjoyed access and the amenity of this beach for over 40 years and have been active members of the Waratah Wynyard Council area for over 50 years. The works that have been completed without extensive or effective community consultation about the specific detrimental impacts of the design, with many members of the local community completely unaware of the scale of the negative impact until its implementation. While I recognise this plan was online and a letter distributed, these technical drawings in 2D require a trained eye to decipher, and there was not a 3D perspective render or anything to assist the visualisation of this impact. Furthermore, these plans were difficult to access for older residents who have no NBN and have restricted 4G access in Doctors' Rocks. The solution implemented is radically over-engineered, resulting in the complete removal and destruction of a usable community beach area. This section of beach is extensively used by the local community for recreation, walking, amateur gold prospecting, wildlife through the nesting penguins, and fishing. The complete loss of this beach has and will have a significant negative impact on the amenity and lifestyle of at least 10 residences in the vicinity. The detrimental effects of these works are not limited to the lifestyle and recreation, but would also extend to the financial damage of the value of these properties. The beach is a critical aspect of the appeal and worth of these homes. The removal of access to the beach, and importantly, the negative impact of the views from these properties, will affect the property values adversely. Furthermore, when compared to other civil works along the very same path upgrade, for example at Nurses Retreat, the extent of these works seem unnecessarily extreme. A more balanced approach, such as the removal of at least one layer of rock and the integration of and utilisation of landscaping for sensitive coastline erosion control, and the removal of the rocks directly placed on the beach, should be considered immediately. A reconsidered design could remedy this situation and restore part of the beach area while still providing the necessary erosion protection. We are also deeply concerned about the future impact of the sand flows and retention of the beach in coming years, potentially damaging the areas of the headland either side of these civil works. Further and more generally, we express our deep frustration and concern about the access along the entire pathway through the network of fencing and gateways that limit the community's enjoyment and easy accessibility to these beaches and nature, which is a critical part of enjoyment of a healthy lifestyle in this council area. I strongly urge the Waratah Wynyard Council to reassess the design and execution of these works in collaborative consultation with the affected households. The impact on the local community and environment must be minimalised. The householders do not suffer a negative impact or financial impact to their properties, and the integrity and enjoyment of our local beaches are preserved. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And my question to follow that is, while this is still in construction, will Council undertake remedial works, including the removal of a minimum of that one layer of top rocks and the removal of a substantial portion of rocks on the beach, perhaps with the introduction of supportive landscaping in collaborative consultation with those affected, so that we still do have access to a swimmable and playable beach?
Thank you, Ms Foster. I'll defer to our Acting General Manager for a response.
Yeah, thanks through you, Mayor. I'd strongly recommend that this be a matter that councillors perhaps workshop before giving a response, just to take into consideration certainly the views put, but all of the information at hand and all of the agencies that would need to be coordinated with for the outcome sought.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 7, matters raised by councillors. 7.1, responses to councillor questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. Councillor Bramich had a question about the CBD Plaza in Wynyard, the bird issues in that area, and there is a response provided. Councillor Bramich. 7.1.2, Councillor Bramich, amenities at Fosse Information Bay, and again there is an officer's response for you. 7.1.3, Councillor Courtney, public interest disclosure, whistleblower protection. Councillor Courtney had 2 questions. The officer's response is provided for your question, Councillor Courtney. And 7.1.4, Councillor Courtney, Burnie CBD funding. The officer's response is also provided. 7.2, councillor questions received in writing. 7.3, councillor questions without notice. Are there any questions without notice from the floor, please?
I have two follow-up questions from the responses I've been given tonight. First is the public interest disclosure. I think that this highlights in the response that there is no penalty for not doing assessment within those 45 days, and there is no power to make sure the legislation is adhered to. So the whistleblower legislation, it appears, there's no way to enforce it. I think that this is now shown what I've been trying to show, that the whistleblower legislation is pretty much ineffective. So is there any chance we could have a workshop with legislative councillors and look at whether this is actually working? Because I note that the Ombudsman referred to their website about how many people have been protected. My understanding is that it's one person.
So your question is?
Could we have a workshop with legislative councillors to look at the legislation, because it's clearly not working? There's no way to enforce it.
Okay.
Just a point of clarification, Madam
Yes.
Mayor. Is this actually a role that local government should be delving into or not?
Do you think public servants in our municipality
thank you.
should be
I
protected?
asked the
Thank you,
question, so
Councillor
wait.
Courtney. You do not respond. It is you talk to me first, through me, to Councillor Hyland. Councillor Hyland, your reason for asking that question?
Councillor Courtney's saying that we should work in collaboration with the Legislative Council or whoever, and I don't think that's our role. We need to, if we've got claims like that, we go through the Local Government Association with the backing of all the 29 councils if we're dealing with stuff like that, normally.
I'll allow you one short response around that. Thank you, Councillor
Yes,
Courtney.
my response is that we work with whatever stakeholders deliver the best outcome for our community members, and there are community members in this municipality that are whistleblowers. Obviously, the local government and the state government have come up with this legislation. It's not working, so we now need to look at the people that create legislation, which is the Legislative Council.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney.
My second question?
Go right ahead.
Second question is on the Burnie CBD funding. Obviously, I sort of suggested that we have a couple of subdivisions going in, and we need to look at park and provision moving forward, and could we look at the same funding stream? It appears that this is pork barrelling, because there's no funding stream, and it was done right on the election. So this is
Councillor
straight up
Courtney,
pork barrelling, is it?
Your question, you're making a statement. Can I have a question from you?
Is this pork barrelling? Because there was no plan. I'll ask a second question. Did the local government know how much turmoil Burnie City Council were in when they gave them a cheque with no plans right on the election?
Point of order, Madam Mayor. That
Yeah.
what's happening in the Burnie City Council is no business of ours, and Councillor Courtney's got no right to be statements like that.
Thank you. Well, I'll allow that point of order.
Can I respond?
No.
No. What a shock.
I'm following the meeting procedures, Councillor Courtney, as we all have to do. Okay, so are there any further questions from the floor, please? No further questions. Notices of motion, item 8. Councillor Courtney, road marking. The proposed motion is that Council consider the introduction of photoluminescent paint when road marking. So do you wish to move that motion?
Actually, I've been asked to consider an amendment, and I'm quite happy to amend the motion. So could we amend the motion so that it says that Council undertake a trial introduction of photoluminescent?
And you're happy with that amendment? Okay, we haven't got a seconder yet, so you're moving, you'll second it, Councillor Bramage. Do you wish to speak to this motion, please, Councillor Courtney?
I'll only speak to it to say that I think that it was great of Councillor Bramage to bring this up. I think it's been very good that he's been so dogged at it. I know many nights when I was driving home from soccer, I was really scared that I couldn't see the road, and it surprised me that Tasmania hasn't embraced this earlier. It surprised me that we haven't done this on our rural roads or our highways, specifically our highways. So I give credit to Councillor Bramage for raising it a number of times to the point where we bring it as a motion.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Are there any speakers against this motion? Councillor Bramage. Sorry, not Bramage. Councillor Hyland. You've swapped seats.
Just a point of clarification. Firstly, we're talking about doing trials, our council doing trials. Now, we do have to go to the State Growth Department to get permission to change speed limits on our country roads. What's the situation if we tend to want to go and change the colour of the
Thank
lines?
you, Councillor Highland. I'll defer to the Acting General Manager.
Yeah, thanks through you, Mayor. I believe Council does have the ability to undertake a trial, as has been suggested. About 8 or 10 years ago, roughly, the requirement to put most traffic management device approval through DSG was wound back, along with some of the funding of those devices. So the ability to implement and the responsibility to fund now sits more closely with Council than DSG.
Thank you for that.
Thanks for that. Well, at this stage, I really can't support it. I know our council is one of the leading councils in the state, but I don't think we should be daring to go out now and on our own create a new stage of line marking, whichever we do, however we do it. The ideal scenario, and that's what's done over the years, you get your council on board and then you take a motion to the Local Government Association and get the other councils on board, and that gives you a bit of strength to get the state government to do something right across the state. So we're not doing individualism, if you like. We really need to bring everybody into this because the first thing we're going to get is people that are travelling around the state a lot, and we've got different coloured line markings in different regions, and that just won't happen, and we can't really accept that. And really the point that I really want to make, we've currently got 2 people that want to change the system. We haven't got a group of Waratah Wynyard residents that are up in arms about the line marking. We've only got two people want to change the whole world, and I just can't really support that at this stage. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Highland. Are there any further speakers for the motion? Councillor Bramage.
Can't help this. Well, Councillor Holland, I don't know where you've been over the last 15 years that I've been on about the line marking. We've had motions before council. We've had letters to the state and federal politicians regarding them, and haven't been, well, given a response satisfied to satisfy us. I wouldn't have thought. And I guess if we don't show a bit of leadership, who can? And we all know what the line marking is like. Well, I'll just highlight one place, is the lights in Somerset. When it's raining on a foggy night and that area is lit up, you cannot see the line marking. You cannot see it. You're probably like me, home tucked up in bed by then. But anyhow, that's all right. Well, I can't see why we can't, if this goes through, get a bucket of paint here next week to paint a traffic island that sticks out each one of them refuges, just to see what it's going to be like. If it's no good, I'll be the first one to say. But God, we're talking about road safety and line marking. We all know our line marking is atrocious when it's in a lit up area. And I thought we might have been all about road safety, and I don't know any, and I commend Councillor Courtney for taking it up, and I just don't know any other way to do it. And I think we're wasting our time if we write to the state, we write to the federal, we go to the Local Government Association. We've been there and done it all. I've been on my hands and knees with a paintbrush in my hand, paint yellow lines. It hasn't worked, so let's get it done properly this time. And let us council be a leader. We've been leaders in recycling back years ago with our little recycling. So come on, let's keep it going. So I just urge council to support it. Let's have a crack at it.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. Councillor Johnson.
I'm going to speak for the motion because, one, It might get my wife out to drive at night time because I know for a fact that she will not drive at night time because of the danger of the lines and not seeing with, say, her vision and that. And yeah, as Councillor Bramage said, we've got to put something out there. People don't know that there is a luminant out there that can be put on roads so they can see, and if we do it and we trial it, people will see it, and it might be a pilot program, and other councils will probably see it as well and recommend it to theirs. So I'm going to speak for the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor Dunniam. I also am very supportive of this motion. I, like many people in our region, have lost friends and family in road accidents. The conditions of our roads have been subpar for a long time. While we may not be able to resurface all the roads through affordability factors and such, something as innovative as just glow-in-the-dark paint can be quite, I'd say, life-changing for people. To insinuate that you're trying to save the world by look after people's road safety, I find that's disingenuous. So I think for you to champion it for 15 years, Councillor Bramage, that shows the calibre of person you are. I've spoken many times about how staunch you are about the road safety and the road shoulders and everything to the culverts. I completely agree as well, especially out at the new intersection at Doctors Rocks when the water's over the roads. The two lights over the road actually make it worse because you cannot see where the turn-off is, you cannot see where it starts to change. I myself was very close probably to having an accident there a few weeks ago. So I actually commend you for doing this. I think it's a wonderful idea. For anyone that has their ears out in the community would know there's a lot of people that talk about the safety on our roads and stuff like the line marking and, so I just really want to commend you on this, Councillor Bramage, and also you, Councillor Courtney. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. And I'll make one final comment. I support the motion. Determined by the officer's comment, the second paragraph, to give proper consideration as per the intent of the motion and investigation of feasibility, including but not limited to effectiveness, any potential for environmental impact, cost and performance would be required. Reference to the trials in Victoria is a logical starting point. I'm going to call for a division. Those in favour of the motion, please.
Can I close?
Yes, you can. Sorry.
Because we've had dissent.
Yes. Go for it.
Okay, so I'm going to just say a few quick things. One is that Councillor Bramage hasn't been adversarial to me ever since I've been here, so we've been able to actually work on motions. He's had 10 years of inaction on this, and I think it's a great thing that he's shown leadership in this area. Very happy to support the motion. I'm actually ashamed of my fellow councillor who suggests that because I want to save the world, I shouldn't show leadership. I think I was here for 3 years and we brought in ISEP, which was new, and we won an award. We brought in online meetings and we won an award. So I know that you did things a certain way for 30 years, but they're still failing to get done. So I'm trying a new approach, which is reaching out to the people that can help us and putting up motions that show leadership. And we're winning awards for that. So I just wanted to note that.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. I will now call for a division. Could I ask those that are in favour of this particular motion to raise their hands? Councillor Bramage, Councillor Courtney, and myself. It's unanimous. Passed. Thank you. Passed unanimously. 8.2, Councillor Courtney, the conditional basic income. There is a motion before you, councillors. Councillor Courtney, would you like to move this motion?
I'll move the motion, and I'll be real quick on this one because I've got a really sore throat and I'm not going to continue after I've done this motion. I am going to go home. I'm not well. The only thing I'll note with this motion is that the Live Well project relies on volunteers. If we have this conversation with the federal government and get it up, those volunteers will be paid. So it doesn't preclude Live Well from doing their project. It just means that they'll be paid under this scheme to do that project. So I'll just note that. And the second thing I'll note is the reason I am bringing it back is because we've got families in poverty. If you just look at the statistics, a single parent household on parenting payment has $24 remaining at the end of each week after paying basic living costs. So to vote against this motion is to suggest that people on parenting payment that have $24 at the end of the week that are clearly living in poverty can stay there because we don't want to have a conversation. This is to have a conversation with a minister to say, hey, can we put this idea forward either in this form or pay those volunteers and allow Live Well to be able to do their project as well? Voting against having a conversation with the relevant minister to keep people in poverty, vote on that as you will.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. We have no seconder to that motion. The motion that Councillor Courtney has already spoken to, you will second it. Councillor Roberts has seconded that motion. So the debate has already been opened. Are there any speakers against this motion, please? Councillor Raw.
Yeah, as a council, we're well into discussions on promoting our area to the federal government as a worthy place for a pilot or trial on welfare payments. I think we'd all agree that the current payment system does not provide enough for the basics in life. People are pushed into poverty. The research we have available on the effects of living in poverty is conclusive. It's not a good place to be with the pressures on families resulting in our current upsurge of crime, domestic violence, low education attainment, poor general health, and in particular poor mental health. As a council, we can see that there is a great need for change. In our area, we have 500 to 600 people who are job searchers on job search in our area. There are not 500 to 600 jobs available in our area to match the need for employment and thus give payment and alleviate poverty. So what needs to happen now? We've got two possible projects emerging. Project one is the Live Well Tasmania, is with Live Well Tasmania. Live Well Tasmania is well down the track with work in this area. As Robin Crabbe has stated in the Live Well Tasmania update in the motion on the agenda, the Community Income Project is run by a community alliance of local people, and they have achieved the following so far. They're moving from a small management group that was Live Well based to a much wider community based management group. They've developed naming and images for the project. They're working with a professional video maker to develop 2 videos on the project for putting out there in the community and gaining support. They've received a grant to pull organisations together in the community who will possibly run the work projects for participants. And the last part that they've achieved is that they've got funding in that funding for a trial for 4 job seekers who will choose or help design and participate in their work project, and that will have elements of giving back into the community. So they're well down the track, and you might say 4 people in a trial is not many, but that's a start, and they've received funding for that. The second project is Councillor Courtney's, asking the council to initiate and engage in discussions re the conditional basic income. The 2 projects are closer together than in December, with Councillor Courtney moving from a universal based income to a conditional based income, describing where participants will engage in work activities during the conditional trial payment. The Live Well Tasmania community-based income has developed the concept around these worked activities where the local community is mobilised to provide work opportunities that benefit the community and increase the health and well-being of participants. It's good that both the conditional basic income of Councillor Courtney and the community-based income of Live Well Tasmania now align with participants working on projects to strengthen community in the tasks they do. But where do we go from here? We've talked about this on quite a few occasions. I believe we can't continue with the Live Well Tasmania project and bring on board another possible council-supported project. From the council officer's response in the agenda, a council involved or leading a project is non-preferred. I really can't see that two projects can be funded or exist in one small municipality. So I don't support the motion that's been put forward tonight, but it's not because I don't support the content at all. I support it notionally, and I support Live Well Tasmania in their project. But I think we're not aligned well enough yet, and I think the following questions need to be answered before we can move further. So question one I would have is, what needs to be done or to happen to merge the projects? Competing against each other is not productive. We need to come up with one way of moving forward with one project. And question two I would have, would Council consider supporting an amalgamated project in the initial stages with lobbying in the political arena, and later by showcasing any of the successes of the project through their media outlets and things like that? I believe if these two questions were workshopped at a council meeting, then I think a motion then could be put forward to the whole council again, with an outcome that everybody could support. So definitely not against the things that Councillor Courtney is putting forward, definitely not against anything that Live Well Tasmania is trying to do, but recognise the need that now is the time to come together. We can't keep progressing with two projects battling for airplay, battling for funding. We need to amalgamate and unite.
Thank you, Councillor Raw. Are there any speakers for this motion? Further speakers? Councillor Roberts.
I just want to note here that, as Councillor Ross just said, I don't think the concept's as far away as perhaps what people would think. I actually do understand Councillor Courtney's point here. There's certain things that I myself, in terms of the community-based income, would question. Such things as, I don't think it's a really good idea to put citizens or members of the community in charge of a steering group which decides who gets what income. I don't think it should ever be a private citizen's job to decide. You know, there's a lot of countries that have gone in a very different political direction because of these types of decisions. And history would tell us time and time again that it's never worked. But I also completely agree that the welfare system is quite tragic in this country. I think, especially in here, as it notes that there can be this stigmatism around people that are unemployed. And as Councillor Waugh has noted, and as Councillor Courtney has noted, that there just isn't enough jobs to employ everyone. So just by the raw numbers, there's going to be people that are left unemployed. Again, Councillor Courtney's concept originally of a universal basic income is that the people, regardless of whether they can actually volunteer or not, or whether they can actually, make themselves available or not, would still receive income. And that is very important, because welfare should be something that is very universal to all. So obviously, while there is a means test of some way, and the universal basic income is probably too far the other way, where everyone gets the payment regardless, I do understand concerns about certain community groups, certain individuals controlling the flow of money to those in need. In fact, that's the government's job. And so it's proven social welfare works better as a centralised fund administrated by the government. And so while I respect the concept, I definitely would have concerns about the conditions placed on it. We are a very regional area, and there are a lot of people that live very remotely, that have no opportunities particularly to volunteer. And whilst community projects would come in under this concept, I wouldn't want people who live remote and in poverty to not be able to access these because they don't meet the standards of the means test. I absolutely commend Live Well Tasmania for what they are absolutely trying to do, and I respect it a lot. And I really would think that as we continue to go with this, that again, we do work together with Live Well to continue to communicate about the right ways to deliver these projects. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. You've already spoken, Councillor Raw, so are you going to ask a question, or you're not able to make any more statements?
Okay, I'll just have to think how can we as a group of councillors then not fall into making assumptions about how a program is going to run when those things haven't been discussed at all? I think this is big, this work, very big. And if we get a big trial, or it goes across all these 500 or 600 people.
Point of order, is there a question?
Yeah. How can we then, as councillors, not make assumptions about what's been set up or what we've talked about at Live Well Tasmania? I think we're falling into that trap of Councillor Roberts made a couple of assumptions that are not correct. We have to be careful.
You need to keep it to the question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How can we as a council make sure we don't make assumptions
Thank you. So
that
if
are
you can
not in the
if you can-
program?
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. I was speaking. If the councillors can discount that extra comment that Councillor Raw made. Thank you. Thank you. Go right ahead.
Can we please have some acknowledgement that we did have a workshop about this, and we did ask a lot of questions about these, and Live Well was not able to provide us with the answers. So we would have a lot more clarification about this program, where the money's coming from, etc. Except we tried to, but we haven't been told.
That's a question?
I led with, can we acknowledge that before someone says that I'm making assumptions?
Thank you very much. I guess it's my turn. Oh no, Councillor Bramage, if you would like to, can you pull your microphone down? Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have a go, but I don't know how I'll go. It won't be very good, I don't reckon. I did make the comment when we had our presentation at a workshop that I didn't fully understand it. And I still don't. I really don't. I must be dumb. No, I really must be. No, you're not dumb. I really just don't understand it. I know it probably won't be good, but I'd like to see it lay on the table and let's have another workshop with everybody. Everybody.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Would you please allow Councillor Bramage to finish what he is trying to say?
You know, with all the stakeholders to try and get this sorted out, rather than come to a council meeting like this and we fiddle-fart around and bash each other over the head. Let's get it done at a workshop somehow, and I don't know how, and I don't understand it, to be quite honest. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. Is there anyone who hasn't spoken and wishes to speak now? Councillor Johnson?
Short and sweet. I'm going to be against the motion. I just think Live Well have done far too much, or say man hours, in what they've done to prepare this. Why should our council and why should we load our councillors, staff, onto another project when then they have got a lot on their hands? I think these guys are doing an absolute fantastic job. Let's let them do and exhaust their job and see how they go until until it's all ended with the doctor. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Highland, have you
Thanks, Madam Chair. The word respect has been tossed in here just a little while ago, and I just think it's probably time that the council showed the Live Well organisation a little bit of respect for the amount of work that they've put into this project. We've had them along and had a workshop, they've explained it all, and the point is, if you don't understand anything, you go to the source of the question or whatever and ask the person that knows all about it. I spent 2 hours over there not long after the presentation just to get a little bit more of a handle on it and understand what they've actually got, the assets they've got. Because I'm into volunteering myself, as you well know, and I know exactly what it's all about. And I reckon there's some stage that we'll be able to help out there with our group out at the lobster ponds. It's just going to do so much for this community, and the people that are there and the volunteers that come in there. It's all about learning. You can smirk, Councillor Courtney over there.
I'm not smirking. Thank you very much. No, he can't just lie.
Could you please call a point of order if you do?
Point of order, you can't just lie.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney.
Right.
I accept your
you
point
know,
of order, so please.
Yep. Look, it's just they've done a power of work, and we should be giving them a go, supporting them. And there's no way known that council really wants to deal with this. It's just not our role as a council. Let them do it. Let us support them. And any councillors that wish to go over there and help out, by all means, go and help out. But God's sake, don't criticise. Don't criticise. And I'm definitely speaking against the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. As I'm probably the last one to speak, I commend Councillor Courtney for her motion. Certainly the information that she has provided, it gives a valuable insight. I did actually do a very quick check on Google, of course, on the conditional basic income. The conditional basic income is targeted and comes with specific conditions and requirements. Examples are the child benefit, essentially a basic income for guardians of children, and pensions, providing a basic income for retired individuals. So it might give a little bit more information in terms of what the conditional basic income is about. What I wanted to go on and say is the update to Waratah Wynyard Council of Live Well Tasmania's community-based income project in July 2024 clearly articulates that Dr Crabber continues to advocate for ministerial and federal government support for this current project. It is also important to note that this project undertaken by Dr Crabber at Live Well demonstrates significant and strong community leadership in meeting 5 of the 17 United Nations Social Development Goals, namely no poverty, decent work and economic growth, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, and partnerships for the goals. I thank Councillor Courtney for her motion. However, based on the Council Officer's recommendation as stated on page 27, it is recommended that Council continues to support the Live Well project to investigate partnership and funding opportunities for a trial of participation income in North West Tasmania. Councils feel gaps and needs in the community. In this case, the need is already being progressed by an external agency. So based on the project update provided by Live Well Tasmania, there is no need for Council to extend any further involvement at this time. Therefore, I do not support the motion. Would you like to wrap up, Councillor Courtney?
I would very much appreciate wrapping up. So I'm just going to clarify a few things because I think there's a lot of information that's being put out there that is misinformation and it's deliberately misleading. This is not another project. I haven't put forward a project. I've said, can we have a conversation? So suggesting that it's a competing project is misinformation. It's dishonest. The Live Well project acknowledges they need corporate funding or they need council funding. So if the funding's not there, the project falls over. I would like something a little bit more sustainable than if we can't get the funding, we can't continue. So what I'm putting forward is not in competition with, it is a backup. It is to make sure people are out of poverty now. And as you can see in my motion, I've tried to meet you halfway, that it proposes that volunteers be paid, which would fund Live Well. I don't understand why this is being made into a competition when I'm saying, can we have a conversation that will also fund Live Well? It is not a competition. I'm saying, can we have a conversation with the federal government that may lift our community out of poverty? So please stop using misinformation. Please stop pretending that it's a competition when it's not. You've acknowledged that when people are in poverty, there is conclusive upsurge in crime, violence, poor health, poor mental health, and poor education. Are we happy to just let that continue while we wait to see if there's funding provided? Or can we have the conversation with the federal government? Can you lift some of our people out of poverty because they've been severely disadvantaged by state funding? And can we look at whether that actually benefits health and reduces crime and reduces violence and benefits the community? It's a conversation with the federal government. Can you come and look at our area? It is not a project for council. I am not asking council staff to undertake this. We are not in competition in Live Well. I will not allow disinformation so that you can choose to leave everybody in poverty and feel good about yourselves because you put that rubbish out there.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney.
Can I just make a point? Oh, sorry.
No, Councillor Raw, you've spoken. We are at the end of the...
Can I call a point of order then?
You can call a point of order if you would explain what that point of order
The
is.
point of order is that people that have spoken against the motion have intentionally misled people. That was never an intention at all, never an intention.
Point of order, I don't really care what your intention was, it was misinformation.
I don't accept that point of order. Thank you, Councillor Courtney.
Well, a point of order, the point of order may be how we're being spoken to as well in this here.
I am the chair, and if you would just wait, please. Settle down.
Are we talking about how we get treated?
Settle down, please, Councillor Courtney. Please finish, Councillor Raw.
Look, this should
No,
be an
no,
informed discussion. It doesn't have to turn into a battle. It was never intended as a battle.
Point of order, is there a question or are you just having another go at me?
I don't think I have to answer that. I'm not having a go at anyone.
Okay, it does appear that there is a lot of dissension around the table tonight. I am going to now call for a division. I ask Councillor Courtney that you wait until that vote has been taken, and if you need to go home then obviously you are not feeling well, so I'm just asking that you just wait. I'm going to call a division now. Those in favour of this motion, please raise your hands. Councillor Bramich, Councillor Courtney, Councillor Roberts. Those against, Councillor Raw, Councillor Hyland, Councillor Johnson and myself, and the motion is lost. Moving on to item 9, reports of officers and committees, annual plan progress report. There is a recommendation there before you, councillors.
So moved.
Beg your pardon, Councillor Roberts, you're moving? Okay, Councillor Roberts moved. I didn't get finished what I was saying. Could I have a seconder, please?
Madam Chair.
Councillor Hyland seconded. Is there any discussion with this particular report, please?
I just want to quickly state that, again, I say this every single meeting for council. These reports, they have pretty much everything in them we're doing, all the projects, everything. So any reports that we do have as a council, the officers' reports, the progress reports, the quarterly reports, I would recommend that our constituents actually read them, because it will give them a good oversight of what projects are about to commence, which projects are underway, and which projects have just been completed. So that's all I want to say. Thank you, Mayor Dunning.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts, and let's hope that the community reads it so that they are informed, and quite often they don't. Are there any further comments? Any speakers against this motion? I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.2, Safeguarding Children and Young People Framework, Statement of Commitment and Policy Update. There is a recommendation before you, councillors. 2 parts to that recommendation. Number 1, adopt the Safeguarding Children and Young People Statement of Commitment, and number 2, adopt the revised Safeguarding Children and Young People Policy. Could I have a mover, please, for that motion?
I'll move that motion.
Councillor Raw has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor
second that.
Johnson. Councillor Raw, do you wish to open a debate about this particular motion?
No, well, just that it's great to see that this work's being done within council, and to read what's happened in progressing that work. It's great to see how the markers are being progressed and things like that. I've just got one question. It mentions there that all staff have done the mandatory on-site training, and it's suitable for councillors, and if it is, can we do that training as well? So.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I shall ask Ms Morwood to answer.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Absolutely. It's a online-based training which goes through and explains the legislation and the requirements of us as a council, but absolutely it would be beneficial for everybody to do it. It's an informative training.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Bramage.
I'm not speaking, I just got a question. Is it time now that we get it working with vulnerable card?
I shall defer to Ms. Morwood
Is this the
again.
time?
Through you, Mayor, that not yet. That is on our action plan to workshop out and to go through, but it's absolutely on our action plan to go through. Yep.
Thank you for that. Any further speakers to this motion? If there are no further speakers, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.3, nomination of Deputy Municipal Emergency Management Coordinator. There is a recommendation the Council nominate to the Minister for Police, Fire and Emergency Management for Brendan Hicks, Manager of Projects and Subdivision Works, to be the appointee to the role of Deputy Municipal Emergency Management Coordinator. Could I have
moved.
Councillor Bramage?
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts seconded that motion. Councillor Bramage, do you wish to speak to this motion?
No, it's straightforward and I think it'd be ideal for the job.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. Are there any further speakers? If there are no further speakers, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 4, Livable Waratah Wynyard Settlement Strategy Implementation Plan. There is a recommendation that Council notes the progress of Year 3, 2023-24 of the Livable Waratah Wynyard Settlement Strategy Implementation Plan. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Hyland?
Yeah, so moved.
Could I have a seconder, please?
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts seconded that motion. Councillor Hyland, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, not too much, just that we now, all those little settlements around the area, that we can sort of help sort of get ready for livable conditions, or, you know, make sure they improve everything that needs to be improved, and yeah, for future residents.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. At the NGA conference in Canberra, there was a lot of talk about peri-urban and urban areas, and the photographs on the screens showed phenomenal growth, and I would hate to see anything like that happen here. There were just thousands of homes that all looked the same. But can you imagine, as a council, having to put in the infrastructure, the sewerage, the roads, everything else that goes just for those people to live there, and the transport facilities? And so there is a lot of talk about looking at areas where livability must be looked at in terms of walkability, so that people can have places to walk to, get their fresh air, and it helps their mental health. So I think that we are lucky where we are, because we've got a fantastic place to live in. Okay, so are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Roberts.
I just want to state that, you know, the senior executive management team of this council does a great job, in my opinion, and the future of this region is strategised, and that's what I'd like to state to the public, is that a lot of thought does go into what infrastructure and such that we will deliver next, and I'm very proud of the staff for that, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.5, the Tourism Plan recommendation. The Council note the annual progress report on the Tourism Plan for 2022 to 27. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
I'll move that motion.
Councillor Raw has moved that motion.
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts has seconded. Councillor Raw, would you like to open any debate or make comment on this motion, please?
Just a few comments. Look, really love the support, grow and deliver analogies in the work. The Table Cape development is exciting, really great to see, very much looking forward to that. And the other point, the feasibility study on the multi-use pathway between Wynyard and Circular Head, I'm looking forward to seeing what the results of it are going to be.
Thank you, Councillor Raw. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Roberts.
It's my belief that we literally do live in the most beautiful place on earth. It's incredibly natural and beautiful, and we'd love for everyone to come here and spend their money. So I'm very happy about this strategy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Any further speakers? Councillor Highland.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's only just in regard to our walk to Circular Head. You can see with what's happening with our walk coastal pathway currently, and it's not even complete, and it's just crowded really every day of the week. So certainly there's going to be a lot of support for us to join with Circular Head and continue that track on through. So, and it's all the off tracks that we sort of thought about on the way, so you could sort of veer off and head to the coast or up to the bush. So it's going to be something really worthwhile coming to see in Wynyard in years to come.
Thank you, Councillor Highland. Are there any further speakers, please? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.6, Community and Engagement Quarterly Report. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, with 3 points. So the first one is note the information report. The second one is rename the Bill French Memorial Bursary to the Waratah Wynyard Council Bill French Memorial Bursary. And number 3, increase the bursary amount to $5,000 per annum. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts has moved. Councillor Highland has seconded. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Look, again, just what I say every time about these reports. Again, I highly stress to the public to read these. It'll give them quite a comprehensive oversight of everything that council is doing. Has all the statistical information and data, and it's broken down in a way that is quite easily read and explainable. And also in regards to the bursary, I think it's a great thing that council provides avenues for people to get an education from our region, and it's a great work to increase this and actually support young people from our region in their further education. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.7, award of contract 817, design and construct Sisters Beach Playground replacement. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, that the contract be awarded to Active Areas Proprietary Limited. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Highland.
So moved.
Councillor Johnson. Seconded that motion. Councillor Highland, do you wish to speak to that motion?
No, only the fact that it's long overdue, and it'll certainly lift that area up a little bit down there after we did do the brilliant work on the little skate park down there a couple of years back, and it'll just be an add-on to there now. So, yep.
Thank you, Councillor Highland. Are there any further speakers to this motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.8, award of the contract number 820, provision of bitumen servicing services. And the recommendation before you, councillors, is that we award this contract to Roadways Proprietary Limited, and it includes the alternate tender option of crumb rubber additive to all spray seals on a joint contract basis with the Circular Head Council.
So moved.
Councillor Bramage, could I have a seconder, please?
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts. Councillor Bramage, would you like to speak to this motion, please?
Oh, just a question to the Acting General Manager, if I may, Mayor, was there an issue with this resealing of Saunders Street a period of time ago, not that long ago, because of the cold weather, I guess?
Yeah, through you, Mayor, Saunders Street and a couple of other roads in the 23-24 program are certainly known by the contractor of that program, and they're committed to rectifying those. Cold weather appears to certainly be a factor to that.
Well, that won't be happening for a few months yet, will it, till it warms up?
Through you, Mayor, correct, yeah. Warmer weather required. They've undertaken some maintenance on some of those sections I'm aware of, and will probably do so as required until they can do the rectification work. So.
Thank you for that
Can I
response.
just
you've
a follow-up one, if I may?
you've asked 2 questions. I'll allow a third.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. The crumb rubber, how's that holding up? You got any info on that?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Look, industry publications talk about it as an additive to help retain stone and absorb movement to avoid cracking. Look, we haven't undertaken any form of empirical study or other in our own environment, but we've certainly been able to rely upon it in that way. Yep.
Thank you for that. Councillor Hyland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, just again on the joint tendering process with Circular Head, a couple of good savings. We didn't come out so well, but about 16,800 for the Waratah Wynyard Council, and because of the extra lot of roads in the Circular Head area, they got a saving of about 160 grand. So it's well worth joint tendering, and we've been enjoying that for quite some time.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. That's a good news story. Certainly is. Are there any further comments? If not, I shall put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.9, the financial report for the period ended 30th of June. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, to note this report. Could I have a mover, please, of this particular motion? Councillor Hyland.
So moved.
Second.
And seconded, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Hyland, do you wish to speak to this report?
Oh, just there's really not much to say. 1 month here, and well aware our good end of year results. So we'll just let it work itself through, and we've still got a nice pile of cash on hand, which I rather enjoy reading.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Are there any further comments, please, from the floor? If not, I will put that motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.10, the Senior Management Report. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, to note this Senior Management Report. Could I have a mover? Councillor Bramich moved. Could I have a seconder, please?
A second.
Councillor Johnson. Councillor Bramich, did you wish to make any comments?
No, it's just for noting, so I'm fine with that, thanks.
Thank you. Any further comments from the floor, please? Councillor Hyland.
Yeah, just we do it fairly often actually, is a congratulatory mention of our staff, and there's I see another grant from Australian Cricket Infrastructure there for 16 grand, and the GM mentioned a couple of weeks ago where we got another couple of small ones. They just seem to have their finger on the pulse all the time, and it's really good to see, and it's less money that we've got to outlay.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Any other comments from the floor, please? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.11, minutes of other bodies. 9.11.1, the Audit Panel Committee meeting held on the 4th of June 2024. Could I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Raw?
Yes, I'd like to move that, please.
Councillor Bramich has seconded that motion. Councillor Raw, did you wish to speak to this motion?
Just very quickly that once again you can see from the report the close scrutiny of practice on council and the positive responses that council continues to get.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Raw, and I think that our financial manager should be commended for the work that he and his team have undertaken to ensure that we are well and truly on top of all of the financial vagaries that they've got to deal with. So we do thank you for that.
Well done, Mitch.
Thank you, Councillor Bramich. Any further comments from the floor? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.11.2, minutes of other bodies and committees. The Sustainable and Environmental Advisory Panel held on the 18th of June. The council is being asked to note the unconfirmed minutes of this group. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts.
Seconded.
Councillor Hyland seconded. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Just in relation to what Councillor Courtney said before about this group, is this panel's quite innovative. It does incredible work, and the members are incredible people that have a lot of knowledge, and it's wonderful that this committee, this panel exists. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further comments or questions? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Moving on to item 10, matters proposed for consideration in the closed meeting. The recommendation is that Council resolves by an absolute majority that the matters listed below be considered in the closed meeting. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Hyland, could I have a seconder? Councillor Roberts seconded. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 11, closure of the meeting to the public. A recommendation that the Council resolves by an absolute majority that they go into the closed meeting to consider the following matters at 7:23 p.m. Could I have a mover for this motion, please? Councillor Bramage moved and Councillor Roberts seconded. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously.